Hey, so this video will walk you through creating and managing a job in Dronedesk from start to finish. So typical starting point would be to create a new location because every job needs a location, right? So from the dashboard, we can just go straight to create a new location. And you can do this either by entering a what3 words address, a postcode or postal code, that and long, easting, northing. You can search for an address as well if you want to. Or probably the simplest and quickest way is just to pan and zoom on the map and click at the location that you're planning to fly at. So let's just pick somewhere random down here. So all I've done is double click on the location and you can see the rest of the form has been filled in for me. So I know we're in Class G airspace, so we've got the grid reference, elevation and so on. Give the location a name that's meaningful to you or to the job that you're going to be doing. I'll just call this one for you. So that's where it is. And we'll save that as our new location. And then immediately the location has been saved. I've now got a create job button. So I can click that and go straight to the create job page. I've got system set up so it's creating sequential job references for me. That's optional. You don't have to do that. So you could just as easily enter a job reference that's meaningful to you. Job progress. So this allows you to move jobs through a process if you want to. Job class. So this is where you set the configuration of how a job will appear, which sections will appear as part of the job. So standard, simple, complex, and so on will cover complex. Here you select the operation category, and this will be filtered to operation categories appropriate for your jurisdiction. So in this case, we'll just go for, let's go UK SORA VLOS, and we'll say we're doing a power line inspection. Here I can select the client, and the client can be anybody. It doesn't have to be an external client. That can be just you, your business, or a department within your business. Doesn't matter. Remote pilot. So we'll select the pilot for this job and the primary drone. Then we'll take a look at the weather forecast for the coming 10 days. We attempt to give you KP index, wind speed, chance of rain, and temperature for each of the coming 10 days. For some reason, we haven't been able to get KP index just now, but we've got wind speed, so we're green on that. We're green on rain and green on temperature. So we'll say we're good. I'm sure we can do that. You can select the end time. That's going to take an hour and a half to do this. Here you can select the appropriate risk assessment for the job. So if you watch the orientation video, you'll know that you can set up multiple different risk assessments. So let's just go with standard for now. Method statement, again, you don't have to use a method statement if you don't want to. You can leave that as blank, or select the appropriate one for your job. You have the option of adding additional crew, a secondary drone, and assigning a job to a project if you want to. I won't do that for now. So we'll save that. We've now got our job created, and I now get the manage job button. So I'll click that, and this will take me straight to this screen, which is the manage job screen. And this includes all of the information I need to manage this job end to end, in theory, without having to go anywhere else to get any other information. So it's broken down in sections: service delivery, pre-deployment, on-site, post-flight. And which sections appear within each of these higher-level sections is entirely up to you. You can configure that in job sections. If, when it gets to the job, you decide you need to change that, you can do it straight from here. So just click on the gear icon. That'll take you straight to this configuration section. So if, for example, I now don't want the sign-off to appear, I can untick that. And similar for all of the other sections. So we'll go back to the job. So just to run through each of these sections, job details is read-only. So This just gives you job details. So if you can imagine a world where you've assigned this job to a pilot, the pilot now is looking at the job for the first time, you'll have entered some job description information so they know what they're going to be doing. They know who the client is. They know what the job location is. The remote pilot is shown along with their qualifications and the expiry dates of those. And then the primary drone is shown as well, along with the service status, maintenance status, and firmware status. You have the option of marking these sections as complete, and all that will do is change the icon to green. So as soon as you access this job, you know whether or not a job has been, section's been completed or not. Sign off allows you to capture physical signatures on a job if you want to. So a workflow for this would be that the pilot accesses his job, selects somebody that they want to sign off on it, and click send request. That person then gets an email saying this pilot's asked for sign off on this particular job with a link. So they come in here, add their signature and their name and the capacity in which they're signing off, and then that becomes a permanent signature against the job. Initial survey. So typically you'd complete this as part of your office work. So you do this before going to site. We've got an AI component here that will analyze the location for you and offer some observations in these particular categories. So are there likely to be any ground hazards, site access issues, sensitivities, and so on. So it'll go away, have a think about that, and then it'll start to populate these fields. Okay, so it's now come back with some observations and some likely mitigations that would be useful to you. So you now, as the pilot or builder of this job, would now review what AI has come back with. You'll notice each of these has a dagger icon prefix. That indicates that the content is AI generated with no human editing. So if you want those to disappear, then you're going to have to review the text and make changes, and you'll see the icon disappears. So that knows that this particular section has been reviewed by human and that you're happy with it. If you're in the UK, we'll be able to give you mobile coverage information, so this can be useful so that you know the likely coverage depending on your service provider at the location. Next section is SORA flight geography. So this is for operators who have SORA authorizations or want to get SORA authorizations. I won't cover this in this particular demo, but suffice to say this follows the JARA SORA calculation methodology and will enable you to calculate population density, contingency volume, ground risk buffers, and so on. The site plan map gives you a bunch of drawing tools to enable you to map out what you're intending to do on site. We've picked a nice clear location here, relatively rural, so just for demo, this can be useful. So we'll just map out where we're going to be flying. So say here. And you can see it's now calculated my population density because I've assigned this as a SORA job, so I now know the population density metrics for this particular location, and it's drawn the appropriate contingency volume and ground risk buffer. You do have some options on the right-hand side here to show or hide the buffers, so I'll just remove those for a second. If I click on this, it will give me more information about the population density and so on. But again, not relevant for this particular demo. So I can now say, all right, let's indicate where our takeoff and landing points going to be, where our pilot's going to be located. If we're taking safety marshals, where they're going to be deployed. I can add a note to this if I want to. This is a note. So you get the idea. You can kind of build up a detailed plan of what you're intending to do on site. There's various other tools here, including the ability to copy geographies, create corridors, describe flight geography circles if you want to as well. And we'll cover all those. And then there is a large number of additional data layers that you can overlay on the map. So you can elect to do this on individual overlay basis if you want. You have the option to overlay everything in one hit. So you'll see these will start to load, populate the map. So there we go. That's all of the layers loaded. I can, if I zoom out a bit, sorry, you'll see the extent of the layers of data that are included here. Pretty comprehensive. So you can click at any point and you'll get all of the information. So we've got low flying, we've got an FRZ, we've got DJI Geozone, and that'll be true for any location that you click. It'll give you as much information as we have available from the data layers. And of course, you can turn those off as well, just as quickly. So that's our site plan map. The key will populate automatically based on the icons you've added to the map. We'll mark that as complete, actually. And then go down to the weather forecast. So we get you an hourly forecast for the day on which you've said you're going to be flying. So cloud cover, visibility, pressure, and so on, with the red, amber, green status now relative to the capability of the drone that you selected for the job. We also get the METAR and TAF if we're able to. So the METAR in its raw form, and then we translate that into a human readable kind of plain English version, just to make it simpler to discern what the weather's likely to be. And then we also give you a view of the windy.com forecast, just for additional information. If you're close to the coast in the UK, you'll also get tide times available here. As we're not near the coast, we're not showing that just now. NOTAMs will show you any NOTAMs that are active on the day that you've said you're going to be flying and either intersect with or are within a reasonable flyaway radius of your fly location. All of the detail is listed textually down here. You can also click on the map to view the detail if you want to do it that way. And if there are NOTAMs that you think are not relevant or don't believe are relevant for your particular flight, then you can hide it from the system and kind of start to drill down to the detail that is relevant. So we can see the only NOTAM relevant really in our immediate vicinity is a lit crane, which is some distance away, so we not any concern. So I'll get rid of that. All the NOTAMs say are listed down here, and any that you remove from the map are retained. So I get this a lot. Are retained in this box, so you can restore them back into the map if you feel the need to do that. We have got an abbreviation lookup, so if there's something, if there's an abbreviation in any of these NOTAMs that don't make any sense to you, then you can type in what the abbreviation is, and we'll give you a translation of that. Airspace users, so what we do here, again, for that flyaway radius of your drone, which is calculated as 57 kilometers. I mean, you can reduce that if you want. 35 is probably more realistic. We'll show you any and all airspace users within that radius. Principle being here, if you get a flyaway, you might want to contact those airspace users and let them know there's a rogue drone on the way. So you would select the heading, let's say it's headed south in this case, and then you've got contact information for all of those airspace users in that direction. So this will include everything from airports to hotels with helipads and everything in between. Emergency contact. So what we do here is identify the nearest hospital with an ER or A&E, and we give you opening times, the location. We also give you contact information for the nearest police service and various other emergency contact numbers if we're able to get anything useful for you. Then we've got method statements. So it's pulled in a method statement template that I previously set up. I can now edit this if I want to. If I've used placeholders, then those placeholders will now be replaced with the relevant bits of information for this job. Same with operational notes. Notifications I can use to record the fact that I've notified somebody about the flight. So that could be landowner, police, neighbors, whoever else needs to know. Then we've got the first of the checklists. So these all work in exactly the same way. So you would go through, mark these as done, as and when. These are tri-state as well. So if, for example, task information review flight plan isn't relevant for this job, I can click it again. It'll go grey, which means it's not relevant. And I can cycle through these if I want to do that. On-site survey. So once I arrive on site, I can get the live weather observations. So this will give me the current observations for this specific location, along with information about likely satellite coverage based on where we are, latitude, and so on, time of day, and the likelihood of rain the next hour. So I can transpose those values into the form if I want to. We've also got an airspace monitor here, so this will monitor ADS-B and give us information about any aircraft that start to head towards our location. So this is centered on the location that we've said we're going to be flying at, and you'll see we project the flight path of any aircraft. And if anything's heading towards us, the system will give us an audible alarm. So effectively, you can leave this running in the background, and it will alert you when anything starts heading your way. Click it. There we go. It started. Now that aircraft is within our warning radius, i.e. the yellow radius, the system is playing an audible alarm to let us know that's heading towards us. So you probably want at this point to bring your drone down for safety. It is configurable, so you can change the search ceiling, the search radius, and the warning radius, and so on. So that's up to you. And then additional fields where you can add more information if things become apparent once you arrive on site. If you suddenly get in the field and find there are a bunch of cows there that you weren't anticipating, then you can record that observation here too. Then we get to the risk assessment. So it's pulled in the risk assessment template that I previously set up. I can now, as the pilot, go through and score these, any that remain unscored. For flexibility, so I can still change the text. I can still delete a risk if it's not relevant, and I can still add new risks if I want to. I can also bring in a whole additional risk assessment if I want to do that too. Then we've got further checklists, all working exactly the same way. Then we've got flight logging. So you have three choices of flight logging. So manual just allows you to record flights manually, but so broadly the same as filling in a spreadsheet. So just set the start and end time of the flight. You can, if you want to, record the battery that's going to be used. And if you've taken more than one drone to site, that's not a problem. Just select the appropriate drone. Exactly the same with the pilot. You can click on the pilot name and change the pilot. So if there's more than one staff on site, that's not a problem either. And obviously you can add as many rows here as you want to. You can, if you want, if you've got this open on a tablet or laptop on site, then you can click takeoff on your takeoff and land when you land, and that will kind of timestamp those appropriately. So that's a manual approach. Next one is upload import. So this allows you to upload flight logs from DJI, Yanzu, Parrot, Zag, Autel, ArduPilot, Helios, and various other software applications. So you would just click on the button, select the files, and the system will process those into the system. The other option you have, if you've connected your DJI account, you can sync your flight logs. So once you've completed your flights, and those flights have synced up to DJI Cloud, then you can come in here, click Sync with DJI, and Dronedesk will attempt to find any flight logs in your DJI Cloud account for this job's date and location. It'll then pull them in and process. So this is what you'd see. So in this case, it's found one flight log. It's got the start and end time of the flight. We know it's 4.37 minutes long, and there's the flight path mapped out for you. it will attempt to match the battery and drone by virtue of the serial numbers. If it's not matched, it will tell you. So there'll be a message down here, DJI flight record, unable to match drone. There's the serial number. So I would now go in and correct my asset record in the system. And next time I do a sync, it'll match automatically. And exactly the same with the battery. You can see on number there. You can view more details of the flight by clicking on the route icon there. So that'll give you start and end battery charge, temperature, and so on. So additional information. If you've used the sync option, when you return to this job, you'll have a download icon next to or in the notes field. If you click that, that will give you a full CSV of the entire flight. So a human readable version of your flight log if you need to review that. And then we've got flight log supplementals. So this allows you to record kind of non-flight time. So if, for example, you need to record currency as an observer or ground crew, you can do that. Or as a trainer, you might want to do that. So you can set start and end time and the duration for which you record that training time. Then we've got closure checklist and a closure report. And just to mention, on the closure report, we've got log an incident. So if anything happens, if there's a reportable incident, if the drone hits a tree, falls out of the sky, then you can record incidents in the system. Just click that button. It'll take you to a form. Those incident logs stay within Dronedesk. They don't get shared with anybody else. So you can fill them in with impunity. So that really is a job end to end. You can mark a job as work complete or as job complete if you want to. And just to mention, you can export a job, so either as a job pack, RAMs or custom. You can get a print if you want to. You can get a shareable URL. So if you want to just send a link to a client, for example, then this is what they would get. So if they access that link, so pretty much what you've just seen on screen reproduced as a document with all the information. Reiterate, all of this is configurable. You don't have to include all of this information in an export. So I'm sure your clients wouldn't necessarily want to see all of the NOTAMs, for example. But yeah, that's all configurable. You can save a job as an event in Google Outlook and so on if you want to do that. And you do get an audit trail, so you can review a full kind of life cycle of a job with details about who's done what. So there we are, minute by minute breakdown of what's been done on that particular job. So there we are. That's a job end to end. All of your flight logs, of course, go directly into the flight log report, so you can pop in there and run a report at any point in time. And just to mention the different views that are available for jobs. So you have the table view. There's also a Kanban view, so you can move jobs through a process if you want to from there. There's also a calendar view. And again, you can reschedule jobs from here, so move them around. There's also a map view, so you can see them on a map. And there are some additional tools here as well. So you've got a kind of routing option, so you can lasso a number of jobs. Let's say one pilot to do those jobs in a day. We can ask the system to create us a routing, either from a business address or one of the jobs as a start and end point. And the system will give us an optimized route option for that particular set of jobs. You can also bulk edit the jobs from here. So if, for example, the pilot who's scheduled to do those jobs went off sick, then we can reassign them to a pilot in one hit. And like that. And then the final thing to mention, just on the table, if you're revisiting a job, so if this, for example, is a construction progress job that you're going back to weekly or monthly, then you can select the job and click clone job, and that will give you an exact copy of this job. You just set the date for the new date, and you've got an exact copy ready to go with everything copied across. The only thing that's not complete is the checklist. So you'd have to go through the checklist on the new job too. So there we are. I hope that's been useful. That's a end-to-end run through of creating and managing a job in Dronedesk. Thanks for watching.